Do you guys think Soto could be traded if the Padres keep losing? Also, what kind of return would it take for that? The likelihood of Soto being traded, I'm going to come out and say
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and with me as always is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, it's Friday.
It is Friday, which means it's Fanmail Friday here on today's show. We're going to be answering a whole bunch of your questions here today. We also have a look at the upcoming first series of the second half. Yankees are in Colorado, so that's going to come up here a little bit later, a preview of that set. Stacey, let's just jump right into our Fan Mail Friday questions. Of course, our subtexters get first dibs as always. Episode description has more information. Our first question coming here from one of our new subtexters, Juan. Do you guys think Soto could be traded if the Padres keep losing? Also, what kind of return would it take for that? Keep in mind, these GMs don't show all their cards up their sleeves. Thank you, Juan, for being a brand new subtexter, and welcome to the subtext family. We have a couple of new subtexters, so thank you guys so much. Stacey, Juan Soto to New York. We have dabbled in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes a few months ago. The likelihood of Soto being traded, I'm going to come out and say, I think is slim.
Right. I agree.
He has this season and then an ARB year next year. Still in arbitration.
I know.
Insane, right? Still in arbitration. So he still has another year with the Padres. And when the Padres traded for Juan Soto, they had mentioned right away that this is a 3-year window to win the World Series. So that's their mindset from the get-go, from the whole reason they pulled the trigger in the first place.
Yeah.
If they keep losing this year, I think they still see next year as a possibility to win it all. At least that's the organizational mentality. Stacey, your thought on just that aspect of it?
Yes, I completely agree with that because I don't think that Preller would make all these moves and sign all these guys and do all this stuff just to get him out of San Diego that quickly. It's a nice pipe dream, but it's not happening. No, he's going to stick around. This year could turn out to be a monumental failure for the Padres, but I don't see them getting rid of Soto. Even if they, lose like 10 out of the next 15 games and completely fall out of everything before the trade deadline, they're still not doing it.
Yeah, because, remember Juan Soto started off really, really cold. He had a terrible April, one of the worst months of his career, and his tenure with the Padres was already being put into question. His last 2 months, his May was incredible. June was really good, and, here we go in July. Obviously, the Padres have been underperforming. When Soto was dealt by the Nats, it wasn't too dissimilar from the situation they are in kind of now, as far as what it would take, I think, if we were to entertain a potential trade. The Padres don't have a ton of AAA starters that are ready or close to ready. So I think that would be a part of the showcase. Again, if we're just trying to entertain a potential trade for the Yankees, I think a Will Warren or a Clayton Beeter would very clearly be a part of that trade. Someone who is about a year away, because you got to remember they lose Blake Snell next year. So they're going to have to replace him. And Blake Snell's been incredible this season, right? He's been huge this season for the Padres. So they'd be looking for a near major league ready arm. And again, Beeter and Warren are the closest that the Yankees have that are potential impact arms, not fives. Right, like your Sean Boyles of the world, your Mitch Spences of the world. Those guys just don't project, I should say, to be top-end starters in the majors. So I think that would be a part of it. Obviously, Oswald Peraza is the first question on everybody's mind, and I think that would be the starter for the Padres. Do they need a shortstop, second baseman, third baseman? No, absolutely do not need that as far as I'm concerned. But, you obviously have to ask about that. And, they have a top catching prospect, but isn't ready necessarily. Of course, they have Austin Nola out there. So you think Austin Wells also might be a part of that conversation. If they are giving up on the season in that regard, then they're looking at next year. But I think, again, with Soto still being on the books for next year, just got to agree to a number, then I don't think there's any chance Juan Soto's leaving this season.
Yeah.
Thank you, though, for your question. It's interesting. It's obviously interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
He solves two problems the Yankees have: left-handed hitting and a left fielder immediately right there.
I mean, it would be great if it could happen.
Of course.
But, I mean, my God, it would be amazing. But yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again, Juan. Of course, he skipped a line by being a subtexter. All that episode description has is a bunch of info for subtext. You get one-on-one text conversations with us, and of course, a bunch of other perks through that, and you get a 14-day free trial as well. We have more subtext questions here today. This is coming from Bet. Coming in again here, as Montana's most dedicated Yankees fan, we try to get to Yankee Stadium as often as possible. We can't go this season. We're headed to Denver, so have fun this weekend, Bet. I was texting with her yesterday. A question for Friday. Do you think Sean Casey might put an end to the musical chairs philosophy of the batting order? Might it be better to let players get comfortable with their job in a particular spot? Stacey, your thoughts on the influxness, if that's a thing, of the Yankees starting lineup, batting order, and do you think Sean Casey would have enough pull with Aaron Boone to tell him otherwise?
I hope so. I really hope so. I know they're friends. I just don't want him to be a yes man for Boone, but he's so like hyped up about this, and I feel like he might come in and be like, look, let me take the reins on this and let's figure this out because something needs to be done. And it is interesting. I get it with the injuries and all that stuff. You kind of have to play around with the lineup, but there are certain people that can't bat in certain places, and Aaron Boone and the people who tell him what to do kind of ignore that. You saw it with Joey Gallo last year and the year before, like when he came over and everything, that they were batting him in spots that he said he was clearly uncomfortable being in, and they still did it. I would like to see Sean Casey put an end to that. Like, I feel like if there's an injury situation, sure, you switch some people around, but it's ridiculous that every day you kind of don't know what the lineup's going to be, where there were so many years where it was, you knew like Jeter was at the top, you had Giambi and A-Rod and all these people like in their spots where they were supposed to be, and there was no like diverting from that, where this season it feels like lineup roulette. And you never know what you're going to get. It's almost like they're throwing darts at a board. Okay, this guy's going to bat third. This guy's going to bat fifth. So I really hope he does.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, we mentioned it on yesterday's show, but this next 10 to 15 game stretch is absolutely crucial as far as what the Yankees' path is for the remainder of the season. So we'll see how quick Sean Casey can make a change. Thanks for your question. This one coming from a new subtexter, John. Hi, Stacey. Hi, Steve. Hi, John. If Judge does return, do you see the Yankees putting Judge just as the DH for the rest of the season? Stacey, Judge is a DH. What do you think?
I don't think the whole time, but I think just to be safe, you'll see him there more often than he's been there lately, just to make sure that the foot is okay if he comes back, because they don't want him they don't want him re-injuring or injuring it worse out in the field, accidentally crashing into a wall again. Don't see it all the time if he comes back, but yeah, you'll see him in that position.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, we've talked about how much better a batter Giancarlo Stanton is when he's in right field for whatever reason. So that's just career numbers, man. That's just how they go. And then the last one here in the segment, our last one from a subtexter. This is coming from Bruce. Who's the current Yankee most likely to be traded? Stacey, if you had to pick one guy who is most likely to be traded, I mean, it kind of goes back to our trade talk episode not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. If they're buyers, Oswald.
Right.
If they're sellers, Herman?
Yeah. What about Glaber?
I don't know how many people want that.
Right. Because I was thinking Peraza.
Yeah. Oswald if they're buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer. Sevy, no chance.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, unless some team thinks we can fix him, but
We can fix him. Yeah, it's the attached girlfriend. We can fix him.
Mhm.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Again, I think it all boils down to these 10 to 15 games. 10 to 15 games. The next 2 weeks are crucial for the Yankees. Thank you, Bruce, for your question. Thank you to all our subtexters. Thank you for supporting the show. And we love texting with you guys. It's a whole bunch of fun. Again, if you want to have one-on-one text conversations with Stacy and myself on a regular basis, you can do that. Isn't that cool? And you can do it for free for 14 days. That's even cooler. And you get a whole bunch of other perks down below. Check that episode description. We have more questions from our YouTube viewers when we come back.
For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, everydayers out there, you guys already know on Monday we have Miners Monday, so hit that subscribe button. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter edition because they were also at the All-Star break, so they start up tonight as well. Minor leagues get going here over the weekend. So, by the way, minors, majors are now on the same schedule, essentially. Just if you never noticed that, that's over the last couple of years. Of course, you can catch the Rockies series and every game this season on SiriusXM. Just search Yankees when you download that SiriusXM app. Stacy, some more questions this time coming from our YouTubers. Again, if you YouTubers want to guarantee answer your questions either in text or on this show, you can join that subtext. All that information is in the episode description. Our first one coming from a regular at Sejanuzzi. It would be nice to see IKF and Bader, both solid contact hitters, walk more. But is it a teachable and learnable in a coach-player sort of situation? Stacy, I'll go ahead and take this one. Yes, this is one of the benefits of something like this. It's hard to teach power, right?
True.
Very hard to teach power. Some guys can, some guys can't. It's just how it is. But walking more is absolutely teachable. It's giving your players the tools necessary to understand what is good for them and what is bad for them, and understanding what is a good pitch to swing at and what is a bad pitch to swing at. And that includes a good strike and a bad strike to swing at. So that is absolutely teachable. And that I think a lot of that comes with trust, a player trusting in their coach to tell them the right thing to do. And then, of course, having those things be correct. So, all those things feed into itself and build the confidence and understanding of what is a good strike and what is a bad strike and what is potentially also a good ball to swing at, as in not a strike. Some guys can hit pitches that are out of the strike zone. Some can't. So, yes, all of this is in flux. Every player is slightly different, if not to majorly different. So, yes, it's an understanding of the coach, understanding the player, and the player trusting the coach. So that could change potentially here with Sean Casey, who, of course, was a patient and a good contact hitter. So we'll see if that ends up being the case again. 10 to 15 games. That's what we're looking at. Thank you for your question. Always being a part of the Fanmail Friday family. Stacy, this next one coming from Let's Go Yanks. Should Boone separate Cole and Rodon at some point this season to give the bullpen a spell? I envision as soon as August starts, they will go further into games. And then you have 3 pitchers that can't get through 5 and a third and a heavy BP usage. It's tough because you have Cole right and Rodon left, and then you have to put Nestor fourth because he's a lefty. Not necessarily, though, but I do like the right, left, right, left, right in a playoff. I'm overthinking it. I'm just looking at ways to save BP arms for the stretch. I do like this question. Stacy, weirdly enough, we're going to talk about this coming up, but Rodon and Cole are split right now.
Yeah.
Rodon will go tonight, and then Garrett will go on Sunday. So
they might be
just
thinking
your
the
thoughts
same
on
thing.
that? Is that the right call, though?
I think so. I mean, they might be thinking the same thing where you have these two guys, maybe not tonight for Rodon because, he's still easing his way back in. But we said on yesterday's show, give him a couple of starts to get into it, and then his pitch count will go up and he'll probably last longer into games. So you can expect those two guys to be the ones to last longer in the game. And I like the idea, even though it's right-left and you kind of want them together, to break it up in the rotation. I do like the idea of breaking them up because of how the bullpen would be used for them and for whoever is sandwiched in between them, depending on who it is. Because, yes, Herman pitched a perfect game, but he's not always pitching really long. He sometimes has some duds. He's not guaranteed to last long. You have Schmidt. You have anyone else that they put into their Brito, Vasquez, and no fault of their own. It's just the way it's been going. But I do like the idea of splitting them up just to give the bullpen a rest, because we saw it before the All-Star break. Those guys are really tired. Anything to make it easier for them, because they're a big part of this team. If the bullpen was bad from the beginning, the Yankees would be in a lot worse shape than they are now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Remember, we marked, 2 or 3 games this season that is on the bullpen. That's a miracle. Incredible.
Yeah.
Just a random thought that popped into my head. Vasquez or Brito might be a September call-up. Just going to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Long man.
Yeah.
They might end up doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing that out there. That hit my brain as you were talking. Thank you so much for your question. Let's go, Yanks. This one's coming from a regular Danny Wagner 4382. Will y'all be doing anything live on August 1st for the trade deadline? Stacy, how do we want to handle the trade deadline once we get there? Again, 10 to 15 days. That's a crucial point. Are we going to go live? What do you think?
I don't know. Hopefully the Yankees will do stuff. Last season I got to do a couple of videos, and the Bader Montgomery thing was right at the last second, and I couldn't believe it happened. And I basically had a shocked look on my face the entire time I did my, 2 to 3 minute video reporting on it. But I'm game if you want to. I would. Yeah.
Let us know down below. What do you guys think? Should we go live for the trade deadline? I guess these still exist. I did a Twitter space.
Yeah.
People still use Twitter.
Yeah. And spaces too. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a Twitter space at the lockout last year. Or was that last year? Yeah, I guess when the lockout started. So it was 21, whatever. But yeah, when the lockout started, like a Twitter space, and remember when we found out like all the players' pictures had disappeared from MLB.com? Yeah.
Oh my God,
we learned that in real time. We're like, what's happening? That was a whole bunch of fun though. Maybe we'll go live. Let us know down below if you guys want something like that. We could totally do something like that. Thanks for your question, Danny. And then one more here today. This is I believe a newcomer, Stacy. At Jonah Burks, is Peraza capable of playing third at the major league level? Of course, he's asking about Oswald Peraza. Stacy, he has weirdly enough played more third base in the majors than in the minors.
That's kind of funny.
He has played 2 games this season with Scranton Wilkes-Barre at third base.
Yeah.
Do I think he can? Yeah, I do.
I think anyone can, right? If you teach them.
Well, I can. I was a terrible infielder.
No, but a natural infielder, because we saw it when A-Rod came over to the team. He went from shortstop to third. He had Greg Nettles helping him out. And he came over to the Yankees, and all of a sudden Derek Jeter started winning Gold Gloves. How'd that happen? I wonder why. So I feel like anyone could play third base if they're an infielder. Do we want him to? Probably not, if he's still around, if he doesn't get traded.
Look, I think I've said it a couple of times. I like Anthony Volpe. I just like Peraza slightly more.
Yes.
It's close. It's very close. I've talked about Peraza's swing and how I like it, how it's more compact, quicker, simpler than Volpe's is. I think Peraza's got a better arm. I think Volpe has the slight advantage to the backhand, so that might be a point in Peraza's favor to go to third. But again, I'm kind of splitting hairs here. I think Peraza overall is like just a tick above Anthony Volpe. That's not a knock at all on Anthony Volpe. But Oswald going to third, I think the Yankees, if they wanted that to be the thing moving forward, if they were planning on doing something like that, he would be doing that right now in AAA, which he is not.
Right, because they're not getting rid of Donaldson yet.
Exactly. That's what that tells me. And he has like taking grounders and stuff like that at third base. He doesn't practice and stuff, but he's just not consistently playing there. Also, remember, he did have that injury in July, in early July, late June. So there is some caveats there, but he, by all accounts, is just not playing third base with the Rail Riders. And I kind of see that as the case moving forward. We'll see. We'll see. But I mean, in a pinch, yeah, totally. He could totally play third base at the major league level. I believe in him in that regard. Thank you, Jonah, for your question. And thank you all for your questions here today. These are always a bunch of fun. I love these rapid fire comments and these quick topics that we can do. It's super great. Stacey, we're going to step aside one more time, but when we come back, we got a preview of the upcoming series against Colorado. So stick around. This episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Guys, it is like 90 degrees here in Southern California. It is hot. The sun is out by 7 a.m. I'm walking my dog and I'm dying out there, but I'm already wearing my Bird Dogs when I walk outside. They're the best place to buy your next pair of shorts for the summer. I'll be honest with you guys. It's hard for me to buy a pair of shorts. I always struggle with it. I always feel like I can't find something that fits me right, but Bird Dogs does. And the best thing about them is they're not just good looking, but they're also comfortable, which is definitely can be a struggle. They're also versatile. You can dress them up. You can dress them down, which I love. And you know what? I have Lululemons. I have Bird Dogs. I prefer the Bird Dogs. Our Locked On Yankees listeners have the opportunity to get some free stuff when you go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb and enter the promo code LockedOnMLB. You'll get this free Yeti style tumbler, which is branded Bird Dogs. Very nice. I love it. Keeps my drinks cold, keeps my drinks warm, whatever you like. That's birddogs.com/lockedonmlb and use the promo code LockedOnMLB for that free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise. Back now on Locked On Yankees, our final segment of the week for this Friday edition of the show. Of course, you can catch the entire season and this series, all of it, every game, every pitch on SiriusXM this year. Download the SiriusXM app. It's free everywhere. Then you can get a free trial. Just Google SiriusXM free trial. You'll find it. You're smart. You found the show today, didn't you? Look at you. Hey, Stacey, Yankees, Rockies. The pitching matchups here. Let's start with the first one tonight. Carlos Rodon, second go-around, faces off with Austin Gomber. Pretty encouraged with what Rodon looked like, not only in Somerset and Hudson, but in his first appearance right before the break. Yes.
I was happy. I was very, very happy. I was just really worried about him coming out of the game and not feeling right. And just,
Sure.
No, I'm not going to do that because I'm not that kind of fan. They were without him for so long. And for him to come back, I mean, if he can be Carlos Rodon of last year, God, what a boost that's going to be for the rotation. I mean, we talked about it previously, like just having him with Cole and having that double-headed dragon in the rotation of two guys who can, they're like workhorses. So much better.
Massive boost to the rotation. I love his energy. I love everything about. I've always liked Carlos Rodon. I've been a fan of him for a long time at this point, so I'm very excited to see him. Just return to the mound. It's just baseball's better when he's on the field.
Yeah.
So that's just it's good to see. Austin Gomber, like everyone in this rotation here this weekend for Colorado, has certainly struggled this year. I mean, really struggled, and Austin Gomber is one of those guys. Saturday, Clark Schmidt, Connor Siebold. Again, Connor Siebold struggling this season. Clark Schmidt, much better in June. Slightly tinkering here in July, kind of wavering a little bit. Let's see if he can kind of take off here. Would be great to see. Again, going back to that question we got in the last segment, but about, splitting up Cole, Rodon. Again, your thoughts on that and just how Clark Schmidt's been pitching?
Yeah, I like this. And I feel like the break's probably going to help too. Most of these guys, it's like a fresh start and everything. And, the only thing that worries me though is you keep mentioning that the guys in the rotation for the Rockies are having a rough year. And it's like, well, Jamison Tyone was having a really rough year, and then he nearly no-hit the Yankees. So that kind of worries me. But they're also playing in Colorado. I feel like someone can put a charge into the ball, and they won't even need to really try, and it'll fly out. So I'm hoping, Stanton gets going, and, maybe they can score a bunch for Clark Schmidt, and then it won't matter if he only lasts 5 innings, because if they score a lot, then it's fine. They can use like the not so important guys in the bullpen.
Sure. You mentioned that it would be good to get it was good to get Schmidt some time off, just like everybody. But I kind of just wanted to mention this to you before we get to the last matchup on Sunday. I feel like the second half right now is like a bit of a do-over.
Yeah,
it feels like a pretty massive reset because you're getting Rodon. Yep. And you're switching your mentality potentially at the plate completely. So it really does feel like the second half. I mean, it's hard to project because who knows? Whoever knows. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this is a new opportunity for the Yankees.
I think it is too. And they're lucky that they're not, we keep mentioning it. They're within striking distance. They're one game out of a wild card spot. And certain teams are faltering a little bit, not playing at the same clip that they were in the beginning of the season. They're kind of teetering a little bit, and I feel like they can take advantage of that. And I also feel like this could be a do-over for them.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of today, they could be in a wild card position. That's how it works. Our Sunday matchup, Garrett Cole, Chase Anderson. Chase Anderson was off to a really good start this season. April was really strong, and then he just fell off a cliff. He is coming off of some really, really, really tough ball games in his last couple of starts. So to face off with Garrett Cole, potentially with a series on the line at that point, potentially in a sweep situation, I think that bodes well for the Yankees. Cole, we'll see if the All-Star game kind of rejuvenated. I don't feel like he was falling off or anything, but just kind of gave him a little extra boost. Hey, I started. Hey, I know who I am. Hey, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's not the situation where Cole has to be the stopper on Sunday. We'll see.
We will see. That's coming up here this weekend. Of course, coming up on Monday in a couple of days, we'll take a quicker look at the Yankees minor league system, just kind of give you some thoughts over the weekend, because again, it was a shortened week, just like in the majors, but we will have a recap of the entire Rockies series. And then the Yankees head to right here, my backyard. We'll be here in Anaheim to face off with the Angels. I don't have tickets to that, by the way.
I was going to say, I'm like, are you going to go? Or are you going to,
they get so expensive immediately.
You're not going to record the podcast from
from Angel Stadium.
From Angel Stadium.
Good walk over there. I'm not far. It's a 15-minute walk. But again, we'll talk about that whole series and then, of course, preview every game next week of the Angels and Yankees series. You can drop your questions for Fanmail Friday down below, subtext. You guys already know. You guys are everydayers. You guys are sticking around for the whole show. Before I get out of here, Stacy, real quick, comment prompt here on YouTube. I haven't done a comment prompt in a while. Comment the word Samsung. First one that came to mind, Samsung. I don't know why. That's just how it works. Comment down below if you stuck around for the entire episode. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We'll see you on Monday.